Hey everybody, this is Mickey G. Man, is it hot outside. You step out and come back in and you feel like you ought to take a shower. Well, I guess that's called summertime. It's about as hot as it is on some of these political talk shows. And Rodney and I talk about that in this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School. How you been doing? You been dodging the storms and the heat?
Well, it's the heat now, bro. We did our bit with the storms a couple of weeks ago, but this heat now, boy. Actually, we had a cold front come through. It was only 92. So,
Yeah, sort of way it's been here. We got down into the upper 80s today because of the same thing. Rain came through and cooled it off a little bit, but it's just, I mean, this time of year, that rain only just adds to the humidity. You know, it might be a little bit cooler, but that humidity out there, boy, I tell you, it takes it out of you, boy. If you got to be out in it, I try my best to avoid being out in it, but you got to get out of the house sometimes. So I mean, you got
yeah,
to do something.
yeah, that's the one of the reasons behind dinner. We've been in here about 2, 3 days. I'm like, I got to get up out of this sucker some kind of way, you know. And so we couldn't come up with where we wanted to go. Everything. She had made a pasta dish earlier this week. I ain't want none of that. We had Mexican. I ain't want none of that. I said, well, we're going to do what we always done in the old days. Let's go to Golden Corral. They got some of everything,
Right.
you know, to pick from. So we went out and did that. But yeah, we've been mainly up in the house here because it's so hot out there. Only going out briefly. Yeah, yeah. Even when you do go out briefly, come back in, you're so sweaty, you need to take a shower, you know?
Yeah, I tell you, it is, and that's one thing I miss. Is we don't really have a true buffet like Golden Corral here.
Yeah.
There's one that's a like a Chinese food buffet that we'll go to every now and then. But it's a Chinese food buffet. It's got Chinese food. It ain't
Yeah.
got regular American food. And they had a Luby's here in a Ponderosa years ago, and they both went out of business. Matter of fact, they tore that Ponderosa down and built a Cheddar's restaurant. We like Cheddar's, and we like going out
Yeah.
there, but every now and then, just like you say, when you're sitting around thinking where you want to go and you can't come up with no ideas, that's what we used to do. Go to the buffet. That way you can pick out whatever you want to.
Whatever you want. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Because I used to
Yeah.
think, okay, what have we had this week? Well, I had beef Monday, I had pork Tuesday, I had fish Wednesday, I had chicken. I'm like, okay, what did I have last? Trying to think of somewhere to go. And then, like I say, you go out to a buffet, you can pick out whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever looks good to you.
Yeah.
And was even with Italian. Like, hey, I didn't want to go to Olive Garden. She didn't want to go. We didn't want to go. Like, hell, half of it, we didn't want to put on no clothes. We were like, let's just go get something and bring it back. So,
Yeah, been there, done that. Matter of fact, last night we went to this new little barbecue place that opened up, and you know how it is. I mean, it's been open for a few weeks, but I guess they've gotten pretty good reviews. And Tamara was saying people was talking good things about it, so I said, okay, we'll go out there. Of course, got out there, and it's not a very big place, and you got to
right.
stand in line and order, and then go sit down. So we're about 8, 9 deep, and there wasn't any tables available, and one couple in front of us. And I mean, I didn't, it didn't bother me a whole lot, but she had a little baby, he had a little baby, so a table came up, so she went over and put the baby bag and all that stuff on the table, and I'm like, well, y'all, I mean, we're about 8 deep. That means y'all are seventh, and there's
Right.
all these other people in ahead of you. Where are they gonna sit? And
Hmm.
I sometimes I don't like that when people come in and go grab a table and they down deep in the line. And the people who get at the front of the line get their food and look around and they ain't nowhere to sit. So we
Yeah.
we
That,
said,
that's one of the main reasons I don't even enjoy going out no more. People are so selfish and rude, man. It makes you, I guess I'm getting to be old now. It makes you want to say something to them, like,
Yeah,
what logic are you using in that?
yeah,
You just gonna dictate how it's gonna go, cause that's the way you want it to be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the same thing I thought. I say I sort of felt for them because they did have some small baby. I mean, they were in their arms, kind of baby size babies. But I said the same thing. You got all these other people ahead of you that need to go. And I just, I say to myself, why do you have that kind of process at your restaurant? Why don't you just have people to go sit people, or
Right.
something like that? Because that it lends itself to doing that when you have a line that you have to go through, then go sit down, So, well, in fact, we ended up going to another barbecue place right up the street from there that we've gone to a few times because we had sort of made up in our mind we wanted to do barbecue, but we'll probably head back out there again. But yeah, man. But that's the way it was on that cruise that we went on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about
Yeah,
that.
it uh, it was a lot more kids on there than we had last time we went. And a lot more Europeans because there was people from England and Spain and Italy and all around, and probably Americans were probably the least number that was on there. Just like getting on the elevators. Our typical process is, you get through the elevator and you wait for it to open up, and you let the people that are on there get off, and then you get on.
Right.
And we go down there and we'll be waiting for the elevator, and then other people will walk up after us. Especially with some of the kids. Elevator open up. It's a mad dash through the elevator. I'm like, wait a minute. We've been
Yeah.
sitting there. We were here when you all got here, and you gonna make a mad dash through the elevator to get on, in front of us. And first of all, you need to let these people off. You can't get on till they get off. And there was a couple of times where they were I say American. They spoke very good English. That they grabbed their kids and no, 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 you don't do that. So these people have been waiting, and you got to wait for these other folks to get off. But there was other ones. These were adults. The elevator door open up and they walk up. They might be three elevators down. They see that
Hmm.
light come on. Here they come walking this way, and the door open up and they try to get in front. I'm like, wait a minute. We've been
Yeah.
standing here for this time. You just gonna walk on in front of people?
And
So
telling
yeah,
you.
I mean, little stuff like that. And I don't know, like you say, if it's a matter of getting old or if it's just you just sort of notice those kind of things more. But yeah, that kind of stuff. You yeah, and then again, you say yourself, it ain't worth no kind of big blow up just to get on the elevator, but you just
Hmm.
notice that stuff.
Oh yeah. And it definitely depends on what side of the bed I got up on. You know. But you're right. It ain't worth all of it, especially in no international situation.
Yeah, yeah.
That's always the caveat right there when you're traveling abroad. I was listening to, which I didn't know this. I was glad to hear it, but it's like with this sorry ass DOJ we got trying to convict this dude that they've been after because he works for some kind of group that's anti this government and all that. And but he's legitimate. He just goes to protest and all. Anyway, he went down to the Bahamas, which made me wonder if he was a black dude. And because he's part of some group that I had never heard of, and he was trying to get back in. So they've been wanting to get him for something. So they messed around with him, had pulled him out of the line, had TSA interviewing him and all that, asking for all kinds of credentials and all this other stuff. And the only thing they could come up with was damn, now I done forgot what I was saying. he 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 was what did they get him for? It's some trivial that they made up, kind of they made the situation fit so that it looked like he was a criminal so that they could deny him back into it was down in Atlanta. It was at the Atlanta airport.
Hmm.
And he was on there. His lawyer was on there talking about today on this news show I was watching about how they set this up, and they're trying to. It's basically harassment, and then they want to do like they did that Olympian dude, man. Trump, no, he and that Janine uh, what is her name? Yeah, Pirro,
Pero, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
They need to put her drunk ass back in jail, man. She out there. Oh, we got a ironclad case. Now she had to get on there and eat crow. You was doing what Trump wanted you to do, and but all he wants to do is put people in that situation because you done stole all the damn money. People ain't got money to be fighting court cases because I mean they don't have a case. That's why these judges are all throwing that out. Well, you got to pay money to get your representation in court. So that's all he's doing is just being an asshole. Same thing he's doing with the former FDI director, trying to link him to somebody doing the seashells down there. So what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, boy, you talk about petty. Here you over here losing the damn war to somebody that shouldn't even be able to stay on the battlefield with us, but all you worried about is your vendetta. I'm like, man, this country. I done got to the point where I kind of stopped watching it, but can't help but to get drawn back into it, man.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was too. At one point, I just stopped watching all the pundit shows and everything, and then I
Yeah,
got back in just to see what the conversation was about. And most of the time, as things start to go on, some of the, especially when I was watching Abbey Phillip, oh, and you know your girl is pregnant again, right?
yeah,
Well,
I
she's
saw that.
well past. I mean, she's probably ready to deliver here in a short period of time.
Yeah, I saw she was knocked up there. I watch it when I catch it,
Right,
and it's usually late at night when they're running that second of it. Uh, I was like, 'cause she's mild mannered and soft spoken, and I'm like, when them hormones get to messing up, I hope she don't go off on that damn, which he needs. Somebody need to get in his ass, but or start crying, 'cause she's level headed. I like her show. I like her,
right,
and
right.
but sometimes I'm like maybe cuss that one time.
Yeah, because sometimes they be coming just up with some nonsense kind of
Yeah,
stuff, and she'll try to bring people back down. And the thing about me is that old saying was "kill them with kindness" kind of thing.
yeah,
She'll say,
yeah.
"Well, wait a minute." That one white guy that sometimes I must admit I think sometimes they do and
Plant
say
people
things
like that.
just to be able to
Yeah,
get the argument going. I mean, they
yeah,
have to me. They have to do that. If everybody on there on the same page, oh, we love each other,
yeah.
that ain't gonna go. Especially
Right,
in that kind of format that they have there.
right.
But there's a couple times him and that one other girl that's on there, the white girl that's a big Republican. That
Yeah,
can't,
man.
sometimes the stuff that she says just don't make no sense.
It don't make
And
no
Abby
sense.
said, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm reading right here. It says they were talking about. Oh shoot, what was it? Was it the crime rate? Trump was talking about the worst of the worst. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the worst of
yeah,
the worst, the worst of the worst. And she said, "Well, the numbers show that only like 0.03% of the I guess like hardened criminals have been deported and things of that nature." And that other guy was, "Well, it don't matter if it's just one person. That's all. We keep our
yeah,
country safe." And she's like, "Come on now, let's be realistic here. We're talking
yeah.
about less than 1%, and y'all talking about you doing the worst of the worst. Where are all these other 99% of people? These are just people that maybe may have had some petty crimes and may not have had any criminal record at
Well,
all."
that's the vast majority of them. This is the
Yeah,
90 percentile
yeah,
that haven't had any kind of problems with them. Hell, it's just like the voting thing. They might find 20 cases out of how many millions of people throughout the United States. Boy, it's a rampant problem.
yeah.
But it
That
ain't.
that was another one.
Yeah,
You must have saw that episode
well,
too.
see, I've watched the.
When that guy kept saying, I think was that the word he used, rampant problem or something? And she
Yeah,
said,
I
"How do you
forget.
define that?"
Yeah.
There was like she looked at the total votes for that election, and she said that was like 0.1% of the whole vote. Even if the other candidate had gotten every one of the votes, they still would have lost by 500,000 500,000 votes.
Yeah, and see that's what makes it so frustrating for me because their arguments are so weak. It is so. I mean, it's like they have to pay y'all to come on there and make a fool of yourself
Yeah, yeah. As I
with
say, I
that.
think they got to have that counter argument, regardless of how dumb and stupid it sounds.
Yeah.
They've got to come up with something. And
Well, that boy, I can't. I don't know why I can't think of his name because I cuss him out every time I see him on there. That Republican. or he's listed as a Republican. Hell, I can't think of what they call him now, but anyway, he's an advocate for them. Anyway, well, he has some of the most arguments on there, and he has to be paid to be an antagonist because he don't believe he's saying. And out of all of them, I like Anna Navarro on there. She stands her ground. But I like Charles Blow. Charles Blow don't be playing around. No, I'm gonna tell you right now, you just a lie. I said, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell him the truth, boy. But
Is
yeah,
that the brother with the big eyes and the bald head?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was telling Tamara because we both watched. Matter of fact, she's the one that told me about Abbey Phillip. She said, "Dad, have you noticed how wide her nose is getting?"
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
said, "No, I ain't looking at her nose. Tell you the truth." I think she's pregnant again because her nose has gotten wide. And the next night
Yeah,
I looked, and she was, like I said, she's showing now. So I said, yeah,
yeah,
she is pregnant. And then next day, Tamara said, yeah, she is. She's pregnant. But a couple of times on that brother, his eyes have gotten real wide and stuff. And I'm like, man, y'all better stop. Y'all better stop messing with that brother.
so
His
I'll tell
eyes have done
you see
got big.
you see what he told that young girl on there. Said I was hired at the Washington Post the year you was born. He said I don't need you to come over here and tell me nothing about. I was like, God damn.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
you feel? How do you feel, Charles?
He uh like he gets that look sometime, and I'm thinking, man, y'all better back off. He about ready to go off, and
Yeah, I can't stand that Shermichael either. I can't stand that one.
you
He
know,
always,
I, I think the thing that there's good and bad that I've liked about him that I've heard him talk. I know he's trying to defend, the
hmm
right and the conservative. I know he's trying to defend them too. But I will admit there have been times when he's said, yeah, that's messed up. They
hmm
did that wrong. He's wrong. The president did the bad. Yeah, he's done that a few times. But he said to me the thing about him is he seemed like he wants to come over so much as an intellectual
yeah,
that he almost, it's almost like he's faking,
yeah.
almost kind of thing when he talks because he wants to seem like he wants to come off as such an intellectual
Yeah, and
person.
he wants to come off also too like he's well. I'm a reasonable person, If you put the facts in front of me, I'll go ahead and do it. But all the other stuff that you defend is so stupid that negates all of that, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But he'll do the obvious, like if somebody says, "Well, Trump said he was gonna end this war within a week," he'll go, "Well, yeah." Yeah, he did say that was unfortunate that he said that, but then he'll quasi defend it kind of thing. It's like I want to keep my foot in the door with the GOP,
right.
but I want to come off as being a reasonable person, And but sometimes he gets on my damn nerves with that, uh, trying to be on the fence. I ain't gonna burn my
Hmm.
bridge over here, and that's Stephen A. Smith. They two are the same ilk. He's the same way. He goes with wherever the wind goes, though. You know, no, his black ass was down there at North Carolina A&T. He ain't never defended no GOP.
Yeah, yeah. And then they got that other. I don't know if he's Hispanic or what he is, but he's got the dark eye, the real thick eyebrows, and he looks a little Hispanic to me. But he's a GOPer too. And sometimes he'll be saying stuff, and it seems like it's all he can do to laugh at himself, like kind of thing. And he'll be saying stuff, and then he'll get that look on his face, like I'm about to bust out laughing myself about what I'm saying, and she'll have to bring him down too, and then I'll see that one brother that I guess I don't know. He may have been on there for years. I guess I just noticed him a couple of weeks ago. But he usually comes on there with the brother with the baseball cap on.
hmm
And the
I'm
first time I
trying to
saw him, I'm
remember.
like, oh my God, he got a baseball cap
Oh
on.
yeah,
He
yeah,
looked
yeah,
like he
yeah.
was getting ready to go out to watch the Knicks game or something. Why they got him on here? And when he
Yep.
started to talk, I mean, he's sort of low key. He
Yeah.
doesn't get upset. He don't get really excited. He don't get the bug eyes like my other boy does, things of that nature. But I'm like, this brother know what he talking about.
Yes,
Once
indeed.
again, he sort of comes with facts. He comes with a very very level-headed comments and things. I'm like, I'm
I,
impressed with this brother. He just need to
I'm
take that baseball cap off.
exact. I'm like you, cause when I first saw him on there, he got on a blazer and a button down shirt with that baseball cap.
Yeah,
I'm like, now where did they get this clown from? you know, this is gonna be some comic relief here, but when he start talking, people start listening because he sure
yeah,
don't know what the hell he's talking about.
yeah. He does. Like I say, he sort of deceived me when I saw his outward appearance, and then I heard him start talking. I'm like, yeah, this brother know what he talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a good show myself. I catch it whenever, especially if I'm flipping and I see it on there.
right.
Because she comes on about 2 or 3 times a night. I mean, she has the early show, and then there one come on right after midnight sometimes, and then there's over in the morning. I've been sitting up here, and I've rewatched it because I like the way it went,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
deal. But I'm just wondering because, I'm looking at it's amazing, boy. Even though we ain't figured out a way to put it in the furnace and burn it for some energy good, we got a lot of representation on these shows, man. And I'm like, they slowly trying to get rid of everybody. I hope they don't get rid of her show. But I tell you, man, I tell you, Mickey, Rosalind's like, oh, please give me a break. I'm like, no, no. Everybody has a place in God's house here that he created. But I'm so sick of looking at that Negro on weeknight with that damn afro. I mean, he just brings gay to a whole nother level with that speech. And then when you get him and Jonathan Capehart on there together, even though Jonathan is more professional in my opinion,
Right, right.
but to see both of them interact, I'll be like, this is how they represent us on television.
Yeah.
Because all the pundits that are on there that's worth anything are women.
Hmm,
And then
hmm.
we got these two. I'm like, damn, is this what it come to?
Yeah, I guess in some cases it does, because I mean he has some good points and things, but it's just as you say, sometimes you look at it, and I mean I have nothing. I mean I've always been the most kind of person. You be whatever you want to be. If
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
you comfortable in your skin, that doesn't bother me at all. But to me, there's some people who come over I guess maybe overly gay in some
yeah,
ways.
yeah.
And
Well, they
to
bring
me,
the
I think that
sexuality to it, you
yeah, it
know?
sort of distracts a little bit from the message, the
Yep,
way it's presented, kind of thing. And I tell you somebody else who to me did the same thing, and not because of what they was doing, but once again because of their appearance was uh, Simone. Simone,
yeah,
yeah, a big sister. I mean, big bald headed sister.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
she's got the nails and all those kind of things and stuff. She really, I mean, she knows what she's talking about. I mean, she's been in the, was in the Obama administration. I mean, she's gotten to that level. It's
yeah,
just, once again, you look at the appearance, and I'm sure there's some people who look and say, okay, I'm turned off from the very appearance of things. So yeah, I think that does make a bit of a difference. Sometimes you have to get past that part to look at the substance of what they're talking about. But I put her in that same category too. I put Joy Reid in there sometimes. To me, she sometimes I don't know could better be a better presentation, I guess,
well, yeah,
of
because
herself.
she was more on the pop culture. You don't know what kind of douche she gonna have on her head whenever the show come on. I'm like,
Yeah,
there is something for consistency, and then part of your whole being in that genre of well, it is entertainment. I was getting ready to say, but in that genre of news, is consistency.
hmm
But if I'm thinking more about and talking more about what you got on or what you done did to your
looking
hair,
like yeah.
yeah, I ain't paying attention to your
Yeah,
message.
that's the same thing I say too. I think between those two that sometimes you do that. You look at well, what do they got on, how they're presenting themselves, and things of that nature, and you
Yeah,
sometimes can lose a little bit of the message as a result of that.
yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
exactly, man. I firmly believe that. I'm like, Hell, I know everybody ain't like me, but my thing is the consistency, and then your presentation. Unfortunately, for the most part, determines how seriously you'll be taken,
Hmm.
and that's one of the things that I remember my son when I got my ear pierced along with him, just to make a moment, because he was saying I never let him do anything, and I did, but I had to go to work and be professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't wear that. I wore that on the weekends when I was at home,
Hmm. Hmm.
with him. But when I went to work, because we, and be that as it may, the facts are the fact. When we walk into a room, we're being analyzed on everything. As a matter of fact, when we walk into a room, even when we got our stuff together professionally in appearance, we still gonna get that look and that doubt. You know, uh, I've been in too many meetings and too many situations where I walk in there and like a hush come over when you walk in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've all been there and we know about that. And sometimes I think knowing that you say to yourself, well, why do you put yourself in that kind of position where something appearance wise is going to make more of an impression than
Right.
what you've got to say? Because I look at Abby and I look at the lawyer that comes on after her. What's her name?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The light skinned sister.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't think of her name.
yeah.
Now I've noticed, and I haven't watched her as much because she come on a little bit later here than I
Mhm.
have Abby. So because she comes on earlier, but I've
Mhm.
noticed that she started to, especially her hair, she started to wear more different styles of hair. But they're
Mhm.
all, to me, still very conservative. They're not outlandish. She hadn't cut her
Right.
hair off. She hadn't dyed her hair blonde. She hadn't done anything. To me, they're very becoming of her. But you can
Right.
tell they're probably sew-ins or whatever because they're longer or they're curlier or whatever.
But she
But
didn't come in the door doing that. She came
right,
in and got established.
established. Pretty much the same look every night.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden she started to change her look a little bit, and it wasn't by any means a distracting look. To me, like I
Right.
say, I think she really, in some cases, you know, uh, enhanced her look. I mean, she
Mhm.
got to me. She has to be a little careful. She got a bit of forehead. She got to be a little bit
Yeah.
careful with the styles that are coming back a little because she got a little bit of a forehead on her. But other
Right.
than, but I mean, not from a bad. I mean, I think she's still a very attractive lady.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
is. She is.
but
But it's true.
yeah, I gotta be a little careful with that. The stylish on anything that's sort of taken back versus forward. But still, like I said, but still, she's a very attractive lady. But
Yes,
I
she
look
is.
at I look at people like that, and in some aspects, Simone and the other brother you're talking about, and then I look at somebody like Cornell West. To me, his look was always so distracting that sometimes I think people lost sight of some of the stuff that and even though some of the stuff he
Laura
was saying was,
Coates.
was sort of
Laura
Laura
Coates,
Coates,
brother,
Laura
before I
Coates.
forget it.
Yeah, yeah, Laura Coates.
Mhm.
That's who it is.
Mhm.
But to me, sometimes his looks and some of the stuff that he would say, Cornell West would say, would
Mhm.
just sort of take away from the message. But that
Mhm.
was his style. I mean, he had already established that style. He wasn't going to change I sort of always likened him to Don King. Don King's look almost made him as much as his promotion skills. But yeah, it's funny how you see those kind of people. You think, oh, come on now, you don't need to do that, or
Telling you.
we're here for the message. Don't distract from the message because of what you've got on or what you look like or what you've done to yourself.
Yeah. And just like you were saying with what's her name? Uh, the one that they fired off of the show, uh,
Joy Reid,
Joy Reid.
yeah.
Her journalism was fantastic. Her 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 what I liked about her presentation, that it was not apologetic.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
is what it is, and this is what I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, that kind of thing. But again, you didn't know if Joy gonna be red-headed or blonde or
Yeah.
whenever she come on, and that's all a part of the package. That's what that's some of the things that some of us don't get. You know, when you're it's one thing if you were on BET and you
Hmm.
had a control group that you were dealing with that understands that can have them change their hair as much as you do.
Right.
But when you're appealing to the masses, there's got to be some kind of conservative tint to it. You know, well, they ain't gotta be, but if you're looking for longevity, I mean, that's one of the things that I've noticed. And I don't really watch them a whole lot, but if you look at uh, on NBC in the morning, the Today Show, they're all consistent. You know, uh, well, the weatherman he gonna look the same because he bald headed number one, but
Wow.
yeah, but all of them
I
have.
don't think about Al. Al's got a strange shape to him, though, Rodney.
Oh man, he
He got a
does.
very, but then again, like I say, he was a very big man at one time, and
Yeah.
he went through that surgery and stuff, but he's put, a little bit of the weight on, but he's been very consistent, very sort of conservative, uh, yeah, your
Well, and the way
boy.
they brought him in being that other dude, the old white dude that passed away. He was like his sidekick,
Right, right.
and then uh, Al ingratiated himself with the public, and then he had that jovial type personality. So he found his niche to get in there. Now he's a he's locked in, uh, but for the most part, all those guys they got a formula on there. You know, they were kind of like us in the military. They had a code, a
Yeah,
dress code.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. You can sort of tell. You can sort of
yeah.
tell. All very conservative, and for the most part, have been all not very controversial at all. I mean, they haven't done anything in their careers that sort of. I look at Lester Holt as that kind of guy that was very consistent.
Hmm.
Just came out, did his thing, told the story, and was very consistent throughout his career.
Hmm.
Never had any scandals or did anything. One day he showed up, like you say, with whatever. Yeah, folks in the public eye, a lot of them have their own style. Sometimes I think they overdo it, but hey, to each his own. Well, we hope you enjoyed this edition. Join us next time for Old Fools Talking Old School. Until then, this is Mickey G. Hey.